In 1964, a psychologist named Abraham Maslow introduced the idea of peak experiences, moments where humans feel complete bliss, total euphoria, losing themselves in an activity. For some, this was creating art or playing music. For others, it was sport. Sprinting so hard you forget the burn, returning a 70-mile-per-hour forehand like time just stopped. But something didn't add up. Maslow claimed people felt optimal happiness and fulfillment during these experiences. So why weren't they smiling? Why weren't they celebrating in the moment? People felt those emotions after. But during, they felt nothing. They were completely absorbed. They became one with the activity. That's when a Hungarian psychologist named Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi came in. He gave this state a name: flow, being in the zone, completely locked in. And for the past 40 years, research into flow has exploded. Because here's the truth: flow might be the most important concept for any athlete wanting to reach their potential and win championships. So let's break down exactly how you enter a flow state as an athlete. Flow is being in the zone. But for it to happen, you need certain conditions to align. You need to match the challenge of what you're doing with your existing skill level. If your skill is too high and the challenge is too low, you get bored. If your skill is too low and the challenge is too high, you get anxious or frustrated. That's why we call it being in the zone. You're literally in a zone where challenge and skill line up perfectly. And being in this zone forces you to be fully engaged. Your concentration spikes. You're able to deliver peak performance. But flow isn't just about performing well in the moment. It's also the optimal state for skill development. You know how people say we only use 10% of our brains? And if we could unlock 100%, we'd become limitless? That's backwards. When you're in flow, parts of your brain actually slow down and shut off. It's called transient hypofrontality, and that's what makes you lose all sense of time and space. That's what allows total absorption. In flow, you develop hyper-awareness of fine details. You're making subconscious adjustments in fractions of a second, fixing your form, perfecting your timing, and these adjustments become automatic. Spend enough time in flow during training, and you maximize your chances of replicating it in competition. Those moments when your favorite athletes instantly lock in and get hot? That's flow. So here's the big question. What can you do to start entering flow more often? The good news is flow states are trainable, and there are practical things you can do to maximize your chances of getting there, both in practice and competition. First, think about what allows flow in the first place. It's not about adding things. It's about removing distractions. To block out distractions and create the zen-like calm needed for flow, you need to develop a pre-flow routine. I call it the 3 M's: music, movement, and mindfulness. Music. It's not a coincidence that top athletes get off the team bus with headphones on. For many, music acts as a mental dial to tune out noise. It doesn't matter what you listen to, but having a specific playlist builds routine and familiarity. Movement. Have a set warm-up routine. Movement and exercise boost dopamine, which enhances concentration. Steph Curry has pre-game rituals that include a full-court sprint and taking a shot from the edge of the tunnel. These movements prepare the body and move the mind into an optimal state to lock in. Mindfulness. Engage in a few minutes of mindfulness, meditation, or even just 10 deep breaths. As pumped up as you might be, it's important to maintain control. Mindfulness grounds you. It primes you to more smoothly enter flow. When it comes to your actual match, game, or race, the surest way to enter flow is simple. Put in the necessary hours of practice. If you haven't practiced all week, you're going to throw up bricks. Your rhythm won't be there. Flow doesn't come from nowhere. But aside from that, there are other things that help flow occur. Have a clear focus or goal. These can change moment to moment. Get a shot up. Dispossess your opponent. Get your stride rhythm in order. The clearer your focus, the easier it is to lock in. Push yourself slightly outside your comfort zone. Remember the conditions for flow. It happens when your skill level aligns with the challenge. This is hard to gauge. You'll make mistakes. But athletes who frequently hit personal bests or get hot, they're always pushing themselves just a little bit further. Do something you actually love. This goes back to Maslow's original idea about peak experiences. He said these are moments that make people feel optimal happiness and fulfillment. You have to be doing something you genuinely love, something you find deeply intriguing, something you do purely for fun, even outside competition. You hear commentators say, "He's playing like a little kid out there." When you were a kid, you'd play basketball or football until the sun went down, until your parents called you home for dinner. And all those hours felt like minutes because you were completely absorbed. Flow only comes if you're doing something you actually enjoy. Yes, things get serious at higher levels, but deep down, it's still the same sport you did as a kid, because it was fun. Keep that in mind, and you'll reduce the anxiety and stress that often prevents you from finding the calm that enables flow. Flow state is the difference between good performances and legendary ones. It's where skill development accelerates. It's where athletes feel unstoppable. And the best part? It's trainable. Remove distractions. Build your pre-flow routine. Push yourself slightly beyond comfort. And reconnect with why you fell in love with your sport in the first place. Do that, and you'll find yourself in the zone more often than you ever thought possible. If you struggle with pressure or anxiety keeping you out of flow, subscribe to Athlete Better. We're breaking down the mental game that separates good from great every single week. See you in the next one.